Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time here, hello, welcome. This is Essential Patience and I am Patience. And in today's video, we are talking about decluttering our budget. Now, if you are living the world today, as we all are, you know that there is a strong financial struggle going on in a lot of people's day-to-day lives, and so many people experiencing it. If you're lucky to not be too affected by it, it's truly a blessing. So what can we do about it? It is time to take control of our budget. If you don't have a budget, introduce yourself to one, because we're about to declutter it. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get straight into it. What can we do to declutter our budget? One of the first things is to take a look at our categories that we have in our budget and to review them. Does this make sense? You need to know what you're paying for, first of all, because you can't manage what you don't measure. So if you don't know what the categories are, or you are very messy with your budget, then you would put yourself in a situation where you can't even realistically do a budget, or you have a budget that is not effective. So you want to make sure that you know what's in your budget, review it. Is it a good budget for me at the moment? And if it's not, we're about to change that. But if it is, and you think all the categories are normal, they are great for where you are today, and it will lead you towards financial success, then you can confidently take that budget and move on with it. But for all of us, it is important to time after time review our budgets, because the budget that I had last year is not the exact same budget I have this year, and it's not going to be the budget I have next year, because I'm already planning for next year. So make sure that you have your budget, you take a look at the categories and review them and know exactly what you're paying for in each category. The second thing is to make sure that you differentiate the non-essentials from the essentials. Now, we've gotten into this weird place in our world where a lot of people blur the lines between what is essential to live and what's not essential. Now, let me give you an example of what will be essential in your budget. Now, paying for housing is essential. So whether you're renting, you're paying off your mortgage, but renting an apartment in a high-rise, that's not essential. That's something that you want. So making sure you find a nice, clean, safe environment, of course, that's what you want, but you don't have to overpay for that. You want to make sure that you're being reasonable in it. And I think sometimes we're all being dramatic. We want nice things. Everybody likes nice things. And therefore, we like to go for the best. But sometimes in our situation, we're not there yet. So you make a little bit of sacrifice, and then you move up in apartments, or then you move up in homes. So ask yourself, is this essential? So maybe you're going to a gym that is $300 a month. And yes, there are gyms like that. And you think, oh, but it's for my health. But you're in a ton of debt. You have a lot of things going on. You're struggling financially. Maybe it's time to knock it down to like a $20 a month gym, or work out at home. Start doing home workouts. Take a walk, run. But at minimum, switch to a cheaper gym, a much cheaper gym. There are like so many other options here. So make sure that you differentiate what is considered essential and what is non-essential. The third thing is to set a clear financial path. What do you want? Are you a type of person who wants to retire when you're 30 or 40? Are you the person who wants to buy a mega mansion one day, or maybe just a starter home, buy a brand new car, pay for your kids' college? Like, what do you want in life? And I'm not gonna be the judge of that. We all want similar things, but different altogether. And so it is time to ask yourself what you want. Where do you see yourself in the next 6 months, the next year, the next 5 years, the next 10 years, the next 20, 30 years? It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be crystal clear, but the closer it is, the more of an idea that you should have. So if you say, I want to be debt free by the end of the year, so how do I get there by the end of the year to be debt free? Now I can organize my budget and everything to make sure that I'm putting money towards debt, so that by the end of the year I'll be debt free. Now let's say in the next 5 years I want to buy a house. So how do I get there? By saving up for down payments. I want to ideally have, say, 20%, but definitely at least 10%. So if I'm going to go with that, how do I get there? What kind of house am I looking for? Well, a starter home. I'm starting to rearrange my budget to put money towards that. Retirement, for example. I don't want to work for the rest of my life, so I want to retire at a good age where I can still walk, talk, socialize, go on trips, enjoy my life. So I make space in my budget to reach those goals. Make goals and reach them. Don't just be saving money to be saving money, because you may think you're saving enough, but you may not. So let's say you, for example, you are saving $500 a month. That's a good amount of money to save. But if that's all you're saving and you have other things that you want to do, but you're not saving specifically for those goals, you would reach a point where you're like, okay, I thought I had a ton of money and I was saving a lot of money, but it turns out it's not much. Because $500 a month for a year, that's $6,000 a year. If that's supposed to be your retirement, your money to buy a car, a house, I'm decided to break it to you, that's not enough money. So you want to separate those categories and set a clear financial goal as to where are you going. Once you set all of these, it's time to remake a budget. Like I tell you, it's always time to review it, redo it, and everything. And I'm sure the first one when you were reviewing it, you probably thought this is a good budget. But no, start afresh. It is always good to start afresh on a new budget. Create a realistic budget that has all of the categories that fit your life at the moment. Your old budget probably doesn't fit you where you are right now. So making sure that you account for everything. Sit down and think of the tiniest thing. Do not ignore the occasional snacks. Do not ignore the fact that you buy gifts for people. Put gifts in your budget. Put clothes in your budget, shoes. If you go to the salon, get your nails done, you may want to cut some of those things out for sure, but you want to make sure that at least at first you put that in your budget so you can realistically see where you are, and then when you create your final budget, a better budget, it models where you're going in the future with your financial goals. Now once you do that, you want to track your spending. I really think one of people's biggest downfall when they make a budget is that they don't track their spending. So you have a budget, but you're actually not tracking what you're spending. So how would you know? I have an expense list where I track every single thing. I can tell you how much I spent on groceries the entirety of last year, month by month, store by store. You don't have to be that detailed about it, but every time I go out to buy something, take some of that money, I account for it, I write it down, I write the dates, the store where I spent it, so I can clearly remember, because the human mind, we tend to forget. And so you'd be sitting there like, where did I spend this money? Where did I spend this money? Track all of your money, every single dime that comes out of my pocket. And I've been doing this for many years, by the way. I have lists dating back to college, how much I was spending on food during my college years. So when I go back and I look, I'm like, wow, I remember this. I know exactly where my money was going. It was going to Potbellies. I used to love a Potbelly sandwich for lunch. The next thing is to cut back on discretionary spending. What are you spending money on that you can cut back? If you feel like you can't cut back on anything, you're not serious about it. When you get sick and tired of debt, you would want to cut back on so many things. So one thing I cut back on this year was going to the salon. I cut that out last year and this year. Last year I went one time to the salon. This year I've not been at all. I cut down a lot on other splurge spending, just going out, but I've cut out a lot of things that are not needs, and so I'm focused on what's most important in my life. And that's something that you just may want to do, because if you're not ready to make the sacrifice now, you will not reap the benefits later. You would reap what you sow. And one of my favorite memory verses talks about the importance of sacrifices and how you reap a righteous return by those who are disciplined by it. So do not fall for this act that you can't sacrifice anything. Most of us don't make enough money where we can buy every single thing that we want, go on every single trip that we want to. So something's got to give. It gives either now or later. Would you rather sacrifice now so that later you can enjoy your future without the stress of having a ton of debt and barely having anything in retirement? Or do you want to just like YOLO FOMO it now and then be working into your 70s? It is your choice. The next thing is to negotiate bills and expenses where you can. Also to alter it the way you can. So for example, if you have a debt, like a medical debt, you are trying to pay it off, you could negotiate it with the people, call them out, be like, hey, I've got this amount, take it or leave it, and keep doing it over and over and over again. Apparently sometimes help. So try that. Also, if you're having, say, electric bills, your utilities, those are things that you may not directly negotiate, but you could always switch companies for electricity, and you can manage how much electricity that you are using. You can try that with your car insurance, shop around. Do not be that person that just takes the first offer. When I was getting car insurance, so I shopped around at least 5 to 6 places, and I ended up getting like 5 different offers. Difference between my most expensive offer and my least expensive offer, twice as much, over 50% from my highest to my lowest. So do not be that person that just takes the first offer. Shop around. Do not be lazy. When you put in that work now, when you put in those few hours of searching up different places, you would reap that benefit because you will not be spending so much money on it. So shop around your car insurance, your electricity, and things that you can control where you can. You may also benefit from automating savings. Now this works very well, especially with retirement, when you're saving with your 401k with your company. Of course, they take it out of your check or with your HSA as well. So that gives you that boost. So you don't really see that money go. I mean, you feel it when you get your check, but you don't have that difficult decision of contemplating whether you draw it out yourself somewhere else. But also automated plan to save it, so you can either move money, a schedule for money to be moved from your checking to your savings or from checkings to your Roth IRA. Sometimes when you don't have to manually do it, you won't have the excuse that you forgot, and you will definitely not have the pain of seeing that money go. But it's not gone. With savings, it's always there. It's just somewhere else. So if you need to be that person that automates savings, do it. I personally like to do things manually. So if it's not taking my check, I'm doing things manually because I like to feel it. I like to be all up in it. If you can tell, I love this stuff. So I like to be that person that's calculating it, who is like moving it from one account to another. It's exciting. It's exciting to be able to save. But that's just me, and we're all different people, and we're all in different parts of our lives. So if you're that type of person that it would just be there to manually do it and it's too strenuous and it causes negative emotions to deal with money, first of all, deal with that, deal with therapy, automate these things. You don't have to be all up in it if you don't want to. Number 9 is to review and adjust regularly with your budget. So I hope you're making a new budget, but like I said, our lives changes, whether it's you're getting a pet, paying off your car, you finish paying it off, or you're moving to a new place. Budgets always change, so it is time to change with it and to make sure that it's changing with you. So go ahead and review regularly. Cut some stuff out of your life. Sometimes I used to go through my budget and just cut some stuff out. I'm nope, I'm sacrificing now so later on I would have the money for something even bigger. So make sure that you find out what's important to you, especially when you start doing this. You'll realize that a lot of things that you thought you needed, you probably don't. You'll be more willing to make sacrifices and to cut out a lot of stuff from your budgets anyway. So it makes it easier. So go through it, do what you must, and cancel the subscriptions that you can, and have the motivation to get to a better financial place. And last but absolutely not the least, is something that would change your life. Literally, it will change your life. It's to live below your means. Do not live within your means. Live below your means. Of course, enjoy life. I have a little section in my budget where I like to spend it on things, discretionary spending. Still live below your means. The problem a lot of people have is that they live within their means of payment. So it's okay, I can afford this payment, this payment, this payment, this payment, this payment, and that fits in. But when you take all that away, you realize you can't afford your lifestyle. So that's why you want to live below your means, to a point where you can in excess save, you can in excess invest, in excess reach financial goals. I've heard people say stuff like, oh, I make way too much money to be living like this. That's kind of an entitlement feeling, and just because you make that much money doesn't mean that your lifestyle has to be inflated. Sacrifice now so in the future you can live and give like no one else. So make sure that in your budget you are always giving, but you are also always living below your means. Those two are not mutually exclusive. You want to win in finances, you need to get all up in there. You need to make sacrifices, and you need to be intentional about what you're doing, and you'll be great. So with that, I'm bringing this video to an end. Thank you so much for watching. Leave in the comment section, what are you doing to declutter your budget? How is your decluttering going? And what are you sacrificing in this moment for a brighter future? Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and ring notification because I post two videos a week on Tuesdays and on Fridays. Come on over because the conversation is always great. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.